A wife is in the background because of her husband's entertainment. She looked at herself in the mirror and shook her head. What a waste of time, she thought. So much to offer a man, and all for nothing. But it wouldn't last long. Doug and Martha dated for the last 2 years of high school, got engaged the day after graduation, and married the year after that. Things had been very good for the first 5 years, and then things had gradually become routine and ordinary, at least as far as Martha was concerned. He had a good job and made good money, and Martha, when she found out they couldn't have children, got a job too. The two of them made enough money to have everything they wanted. For Martha, it was a house, nice furniture, and a new car every 3 years. For Doug, it was toys, lots of toys, and that was the problem. Doug's sex drive seemed to be inversely proportional to the number of toys he acquired. The more toys he had, the more time he spent with them, and the less time he spent with Martha. Perhaps things would have been different if Martha had been involved in his play with toys, but too often she was excluded in favor of the boys. And another truth: the more toys Doug had, the more buddies he got who wanted to spend time with him. "I can't take you with me, honey. You'll be the only woman there, and I know those guys. I'll turn my back on them for a minute and they'll already be hitting on you. I can't subject my wife to that kind of behavior." I didn't mind, Martha thought. At least someone would be paying attention to me. One week there were motorcycle races, and the next week Doug and his buddies would take a boat out on the lake for a weekend of fishing. Hunting season meant 4 weekends where we would take the ATVs and go deer hunting. Then there was a week when Doug would go elk hunting, and a weekend devoted to duck, quail, pheasant, and dove hunting. In addition to hunting and fishing, Doug bowled twice a week, played cards on Fridays, and on weekends, when he wasn't off somewhere killing, he played golf on Saturday and Sunday. That left Tuesday and Wednesday for Doug to devote to Martha, and half the time on those 2 evenings he was just too tired. Martha was tired too. Tired of being ignored. Martha knew it had nothing to do with her looks. She was still attracting attention, and not just from Doug's buddies. She wondered how long they would remain buddies if Doug found out how many of them had tried to have sex with her. No, there were plenty of other men who wanted to get her into bed. The place she worked at had about half a dozen who had let her know they were interested in her. Several times she stopped after work to socialize with the people she worked with and danced with some of them. A couple times, when she'd had too much to drink, she'd had to have sex, and she could go further if she wanted to. The other girls she worked with would go to the parking lot or the motel next door, and she could do that if she wanted to. Even though her body craved male touch, she acted this way because she loved Doug. But she was quickly getting to the point where it was no longer enough to keep her honest. The final straw was one night when she joined her co-workers for drinks after work. She drank enough to loosen up and allowed herself to get seriously naughty on the dance floor. She even went out with a man in the parking lot, lounged with him for a long time, and even let him stroke her body. It was only when the man wanted to have sex with her that she panicked, pushed him away, and hurried home. She was hot, she was horny, and she needed Doug to make love to her. When she got home, he was in the basement getting ready for his next fishing trip with his buddies. She tried to talk him into coming upstairs and making love to her, but he ignored her and concentrated on fly tying. "Not now, Martha. I have a dozen more of these flies to make." She went upstairs in tears and threw herself on the bed, vowing that there would be major changes in the house, and very soon. Doug came home from work and found Martha sitting at the kitchen table looking over some papers. He leaned over and kissed her forehead. "Hey, baby. What are you doing?" "Just going over some financial stuff." "Yeah? What kind of financial stuff?" "Just looking into our welfare." "Why?" "Just curious." "Are we in good shape?" "Depends on how you look at it." "What does that mean?" "Sit down, I'll show you." Doug sat down and Martha handed him a piece of paper. "This is our net worth." Doug flipped through the piece of paper. "Not bad, baby, not bad at all. We're doing okay." Martha handed him another piece of paper and Doug asked, "What's this?" "This is what it looks like after the divorce." "What? What are you talking about? What divorce? The one that's just around the corner if you don't make some changes around here. What are you talking about? What changes? I'm tired of playing second fiddle to motorcycles, ATVs, fishing boats, and fishing trips. I'm tired of being in the background when it comes to bowling, golfing, hunting, poker parties, and whatever else you and your buddies decide to do. In short, you better make room in your life for me, or I'm going to rearrange your life. Property is community property in this state, and it's also a no-fault state. If I file for divorce, everything we own will be sold, and we'll split the proceeds 50-50, and your toys will be gone, and so will I. You need to decide if you want to get half the pot or spend some time with me. I'm young, healthy, and want love. I'm tired of lying on my bed and staring at the ceiling while you knit flies or some other nonsense like that. So either you do your manly duties, or I'll get a divorce or start having affairs. I repeat, I am not going to do without it anymore. The next time I want to make love in the morning and you push me away and say, "Sorry, baby, but I'm playing golf this morning." The next time I show up unclothed in the basement and you tell me to go away and let you tie flies, or the next time you prefer your buddies or your toys to me, I'm going to hit you. Doug sat there speechless and stared at Martha as she got up and left the room. There was an icy silence for a few days after that speech from Martha, and then things started to get better. Doug began to pay much more attention to Martha, and soon they were making love again almost as often as when they were first married. Doug still played with his toys and spent time with his buddies, but Martha seemed to take first place. Things went well for 6 months, and Martha wondered why she hadn't put a stop to it sooner. Then Doug got drunk and everything changed. It happened while fishing with some buddies. One of his buddies brought along a girl he picked up at a bar. Everyone got drunk and the girl turned the guys on. Each of them had sex with her at least 3 times, and Doug woke up the next morning with a hell of a hangover and the realization that he had screwed up big time. He knew he had to find a way to not have sex with Martha until he was sure that the girl he had just helped arrange sex with hadn't infected him. For the next 3 weeks, he made Martha one excuse after another as to why he couldn't make love to her. The excuses were plausible. He said he hurt his back at work and walked and acted as if he did, but that didn't stop Martha from getting frustrated. Friday night during a poker game, things went south. Martha was in the basement folding laundry when 2 of Doug's buddies walked into the downstairs bathroom. Because of the heating ducts running in the basement, Martha could hear every word the 2 men said. "Martha seems a little upset with Doug today." "Do you think she found out he was having sex with that cheating girl you picked up?" "I don't know. I don't think so. If she found out about that night, I think she'd be a lot more pissed off than she looks." "Speaking of that night, I wouldn't mind nailing Martha sometime." "We'd all like to. We've been trying to get Doug to take her fishing with us, but he won't do it." "I think he knows what we'd do if we had the opportunity." "I think she'd agree if we gave her enough booze." Wishful thinking, wishful thinking, wishful thinking. Martha stood looking at the laundry folded in front of her. Doug could have sex with some cheating woman, but he couldn't have sex with her? Her mind went into overdrive as she began to plan her revenge. The following Tuesday, Martha stopped by after work to see some of the men she worked with. She danced with several men and didn't protest when they seemed to be trying to touch her. But it was when she danced with Kevin that it all started. As he pressed her against him, she felt his body. "Oh my God, is that for me?" "Yes, if that's what you want." "Oh, I want it. I definitely want it." Martha was in the back seat for the first time since high school. While she was having sex with Kevin, she pondered how many more men she should let have sex with her before she let Doug know. The next night, she went in for a drink and made love to Kevin again. The next day at work, Mark came to her desk. "Are you and your husband splitting up?" "Why do you want to know?" "Just curious. If you're separated from your husband and Kevin is your new boyfriend, that's one thing. But if you're just having fun, I wanted you to know that I'm interested and would love to play too." That night at the bar, Mark was the only one out in the parking lot with her. And later, when Mark and Kevin argued over her, she stopped them with a simple, "You two, stop it. I have enough for both of you," and then went out in the parking lot with them and proved it. 2 more weeks passed, and during that time, Martha let every man she worked with take her to the parking lot. One night, she lay in Kevin's back seat while 4 men took turns making love to her for almost 2 hours. When she returned home, she found Doug waiting for her. "Good news, baby. Your back is feeling better, and I think I can take care of you today." A wicked streak awoke in Martha, and she smiled sweetly at Doug. "I'll think about it." "Take me to the bedroom, baby. I'm ready." She lay staring up at the ceiling as her husband caressed her body after 4 men, and she wished it was more. As Doug made love to her, she thought, "That's it, asshole. You like nights with cheating women so much, you shouldn't mind being number 5 tonight." For the next month, Martha had sex with the men she worked with, and then went home to Doug. But as much as Martha enjoyed what she was doing to Doug, she still wasn't satisfied. She wanted to do something that would make him truly feel at ease, wanted to do something that he would know about, wanted to do it right in front of him. She wanted to do something that would show him how she felt about his betrayal. Martha knew what she wanted to do, but she just had to wait for the right moment and the right circumstances. And here Doug provided her with the opportunity she so desperately needed. "Can you do me a favor, baby?" "I don't know. What is it?" "We have an emergency order that needs to be fulfilled tonight, and I'm going to be a little late getting home. The boys are coming over for poker at 7, so could you take care of business until I get home?" "Take care of business?" "Yeah, make sure they get chips and dip and beer and whatever they want." "Anything they want?" "Yeah, I think I can do that." "Thanks, babe, I owe you one." By 7:10, the game was in full swing. Martha treated them to a beer and chips, then went into the bedroom and took off her dress. She put a garter belt and capron nylons on her long legs, and then put on shoes with 5-inch heels. She examined herself in the mirror and smiled. "No one's gonna say no to you today, girl," she thought, turned and headed back to the game. There was silence in the room as she entered. She looked around at the 6 men with their mouths open and smiled at them. "A little bird told me that all of you guys want to have sex with me. He said you want Doug to take me fishing so you can get me drunk on alcohol and then sleep with me, right? Well, we don't need liquor or a fishing trip for that, do we? Do you want me here on the table or in the bedroom?" All 6 of them had already had sex with her once each when she saw Doug enter the room. She pulled away from the men. "Dougie, you're home. Oh, God. Join the party." "What is going on here?" "It's a party with boys and sex. You know all about that, don't you? Here's the thing, honey. I'm just trying to find out if I'm better at sex than that hustler you cheated on me with on the last fishing trip. What's up, guys? Am I better? Do you want me to go fishing and hunting with you guys from now on?" Martha looked around the room and saw that all the guys were looking nervously at Doug. "Hey, don't look at him." Leaning forward, she set to work again. A few seconds later, she was back to having sex, and out of the corner of her eye, she noticed that none of the guys were making a move to get dressed. It looked like Doug was in for a long night, and she was glad of that because it meant that she, too, had gotten her revenge on her husband. The end! Subscribe to my channel. Thank you.